the big program or set of steps announced by the finance minister. She announced 8 steps, 4 of which were old, reiterated, and 4 of which were new. And according to the presentation, it was a 6.3 lakh crore expenditure that the budget is undertaking. To be fair, most of them are guarantees. They're not exactly money moving out, but nevertheless, we have a whole group of experts joining us in specific sectors to tell us how this might impact their specific sectors. Joining us now is Alok Mishra, CEO and Director of the Microfinance Institutions MFIN, Upasana Bharadwaj, Senior Economist at Kotak Mahindra Bank, Mr. Sunil Mehta, the Indian Banks Association CEO, and Sunita Reddy, Managing Director at Apollo Hospitals. All of them representing groups that are going to be benefited. Well, first, let me start with you, Upasana. Is it really too much of... Okay, I'll just come to Upasana in 1 minute. Sunita, let me come to you. You know, the RBI had already given that TLTRO of 50,000 crore to be on lent to medical companies, and now there is a guarantee. Do you think metros are likely to see a lot of medical infrastructure investments?
Well, I think it's a great step forward. We at Apollo have already done a huge amount of Tier 2. We already have set up 3,000 beds. And I must say that for this country at this time, it is a necessity that we do something like this. If you look at what the government has done, it's actually, without giving cash, it's using the strength of its balance sheet to incentivize healthcare providers to create bed capacity. To my mind, at 50 lakhs per bed, we can create 100,000 beds with this scheme. I think my only fear is that the government has said that if you look at the existing repo rate, 4%, and not to be above 7.29%. So I think it's something that makes it really attractive for people to invest in this sector. 2 things need to be done. One is to make sure that it is below 7%. There is a cap at 7.29%, but I think it will become hugely attractive if it is below 7%, because that is the rate at which we are currently borrowing. Second, if you look at the OPEX cost of running a hospital, and this is really huge, the payment for doctors, nurses, and the fact that, these repayments, and if you look at the cash flow, repayments have to be made back to the bank. So to improve the cash flow of hospitals, government must consider what they can do in terms of GST. So in terms of, the government spoke about asset monetization, InvITs, REITs. I think this will be very, very important in creating critical healthcare infrastructure. If the government gives a 0 rating GST on lease rentals to these investment trust REITs, which invest specifically in healthcare, I think that will really boost healthcare infrastructure.
If it's only
in addition to what the government has already done.
If it's only on lease rentals, I guess it will not be big. I thought you were asking for something big on GST. But Sunita, Sunita, 1 minute. Actually, the TLTRO which the RBI announced, you take the money at 4%, and you will actually, in that scheme, get the money at a lesser cost. So I'm not sure everybody has to pay 7.95. Let me just ask you, will you be ready to go to non-metros now and take that 100 crore loan, which is the max you can take, and set up hospitals? At the moment, will Apollo be ready to do that? I mean, hypothetically, does the math work?
Hypothetically, yes.
Okay. Oh, that's very good to hear.
The math works.
The math works. Sunil Mehta, let me toss that to you. Good morning and thank you very much for joining. Do you think now you will see this getting spent? The RBI has been announcing TLTROs and kept the market liquid, but bank loans are not increasing. Do you think this will propel people to borrow and banks to lend?
Lata, this of course is a very positive step in the right direction, but it will still require some more enablers. Ultimately, to create a infrastructure into the rural area, it will take time. And the 3 years window for guarantee may be too short for the bankers to fund for a long-term projects, because long-term projects will require a longer gestation period. It may take 3 years for it to come to a for new projects to come to a point where they can have a break even. So 3-year window is less, but the step is in a right direction, and maybe
Okay. 1 minute, Mr. Mehta. Let me toss that to Sunita then. Sunita, 3 years not enough to put up a hospital?
3 years, he's right. You know, it does take 24 months to put up a hospital. So 3 years is enough to put up a hospital. But like I said, I'm concerned about the OPEX and the repayment. You know, this hospital must be able to generate and return the 100 crores that they borrow.
Okay. Why you think in...
And for that, 3 years is not enough.
Okay. No, but you can't you even start repaying? I mean, if it's a longer term loan, the guarantee is available for 3 years, but surely you can get a longer term loan. Can't you design it in such a way that it still makes sense, Mr. Mehta? As Sunita points out, the guarantee is only for 3 years. Do you think it won't work? Bankers won't be willing to lend?
no, I don't think so. I don't say so. Bankers have been lending to the health sector even when these guarantees were not there. So saying this, that since the period is 3 years, bankers will not be, definitely this will take the implementation risk will be covered under this guarantee. So at least 3 years time, as very rightly said by Sunita, is that 3 years there is a time when a hospital can be set up and it can come into operation. So at least implementation risk can be taken care of by this guarantee, but repayment risk cannot be taken care of with this guarantee. So that will take a longer time. So guarantee or no guarantee, the bankers were lending to the health sector. This is a necessity of the country. So I don't think the banks will shy away from lending. My simply point was this: if had this duration of a guarantee for a little longer time, that would have given a little more comfort to the banking sector.
Okay. Well, I guess the government also was looking at its own term. I mean, they may not want to give it in their next term. But Sunita, overall, you think this 50,000 crore will be availed? You know, do you expect that 100,000 beds to be set up?
So let me put it this way. I think that everyone knows that there's a huge undersupply of beds. Some corporates like us who have the ability to access credit at 7% and below 7%, we've already made plans and we will do so. But for the small nursing homes, it's a big plus, especially those that are run by doctors in Tier 2 and Tier 3. In the first wave of COVID, they were hit very badly. In the second wave, they were somewhat prepared. But in the third wave, they will be fully prepared, because it's not just about setting up a hospital, it's also the ability to access finance, to buy ventilators, you know, to have, I think, the rest of the infrastructure that is required to set up critical care beds. So yes, I do believe that there will be demand for this amount of money, and I do hope that, you know, it will incentivize the smaller nursing homes to expand capacity.
Let me a final question to you. You know, it looks like the government's philosophy is that suddenly we are caught napping as a nation, and we don't have medical infrastructure, probably not even in the big metros, but certainly not outside the metros. They don't have the money to just, you know, put hospital infrastructure in all cities. So they're using the route of bank loans and guaranteeing it. Is that a good strategy, Sunita?
I think it's fantastic, because if you look, it does not impact fiscal deficit, because they're using their balance sheet to do it. So I think it's a very smart move. More importantly, you know, I think it shows that the government is interested in healthcare. Like I said earlier, I wish they would do some things to improve our OPEX and cash flows. So this could be sustainable, because having built out the infrastructure, you know, we have to make it sustainable. And for that, I think, you know, this GST is the best thing to do, that they must consider zero rating, or at least a 2% or 5% of GST, so that we get some credit, you know, we get a set off against GST input.
We will carry your voice. Thank you very much, Sunita, for joining us. Well, you know, let me now toss this question to Upasana. Upasana, you know, the whole philosophy of the government is that they are not going to be able to provide from the budget enough cash for cash transfers or for stimulating the economy. and therefore they're using the credit guarantee method. So two questions to you. One, is that a good idea to stimulate the economy through bank loans which they guarantee? And secondly, what's really the burden on the fisc this year?
Yes, Lata. So absolutely, you're right. Government does not have adequate resources. So going via the guarantees is a pretty good idea. At this point, when we know that there is, on the credit side, there is both a demand and a supply side issue. So one is probably banks may not be as open to lending to all sectors. So the government is providing that kind of a guarantee. So, that's kind of bridging some kind of a gap, which could probably help in, the offtake on credit going ahead for these select sectors. So I think that's a pretty good measure, so to say. On the fiscal outgo side, largely some of these measures were known. Fiscal subsidy, the food subsidy amount of 68,000 crore was already announced earlier by the Prime Minister, the extension of the Anna Yojana till November. So that amount of 68,000 crore, plus there is an additional 26,000 which has already been spent until June. These are two numbers on the fiscal side for food subsidy, which is additional over and above the budgeted amount. Plus, there is a fertilizer subsidy of about 15,000 crore. That is again a fiscal outgo, and another 15,000 crore on the healthcare side, which is the centre's share. So all in all, we see if I add all of this, then it comes to about 1.25 lakh crore, which is approximately 0.5% of GDP. So this is how the fiscal maths really is. But having said that, does this really result in a fiscal slippage eventually? That is something which we will have to see as time passes based on how tax collections will be. For now, we believe that the government can still manage a 6.8% as fiscal deficit ratio for the year, because to begin with, the government was conservative on certain aspects on the tax collections. And we've also had the RBI dividend, which is better. So if we just balance it out, for now, it doesn't look like we would see a significant fiscal slippage for the announcements which have been made until now.
Okay. All right. I'll just come back to you on whether you want to change your growth GDP forecast because of this bunch of announcements. But before that, let me get Mr. Alok Mishra in. Mr. Mishra, first, that smaller package which was announced, 7,500 crore, MFIs can give up to what, 1.2 lakh loans. Do you think that will get fully spent very quickly?
Thanks, Lata. I think we have to, before we get to the spending part of it, I think I must say that the step taken by the government is very much needed. Why so? Because the banks, which are the traditional lenders as wholesale lenders to the MFIs, while the liquidity is very much there with the banks, the money was not flowing in, especially to the smaller and medium MFIs. And that is the reason being that the risk appetite for them for the smaller and medium MFIs may be a bit higher. And that is what the government has tried to cover. And the important aspect of this scheme, which was announced yesterday, is that we had represented that last year under the PCGC, while the guarantee cover was available for CPs and NCDs and bonds, and typically small and medium MFIs find a challenge raising their CPs and NCDs and these type of financial instruments. So we had requested that can you consider term loans from banks to be covered under guarantee, and that government has agreed. I think now that the whatever little risk, what you can say, risk appetite of the banks was a little low. So that has also been fulfilled by the government by this guarantee cover. I think the bank lending should start to the MFI sector, especially the small and medium MFI. And I expect, coming to your question, I expect the 7,500 crores to be used quickly. And I'm sure if it is used quickly, the government will be open to extending it further.
Okay. You hope to extend it further. There were some MFIs who were saying that 21 lakh is a very small number, and that it should be at least 1 crore because that's the number of people who have perhaps lost jobs or businesses. But I'll come back to you in just a minute. Mr. Mehta, the ECLGS scheme itself has the limit has gone up to 4.5 lakh crore, which is a 1.5 lakh crore increase. Do you think this substantially solves the problem of small units, at least MSMEs?
Lata, in my opinion, ECLGS is the best scheme which has been launched by the government to encourage the bankers to lend to the sectors during this pandemic time. And its extension to 450,000 is a really welcome step. It will have a lot of advantages. You are pretty well aware that when the scheme was launched, it was ECGS 1 was launched. It was only for a smaller sector, about 25. Then it was expanded to the larger sector. In 3, it was expanded up to 40% of the limits to the high contact centers, that's aviation, hospitalities, and all that. And with the passage of time, now it has been extended. 10% additional has been extended even under the ECGS 1 and 2. So all these things shows that this scheme has been designed in such a way that it has got a dynamic in nature, which can cover more sectors, increase the eligibility, and that is what has been shown in the past also, the resilience of this scheme, that it has been modified to suit the evolving situation from time to time.
Mr. Mehta, I want... No, Mr. Mehta, I want one thing, 2 very specific points answered. One, do you think this will reduce the incidence of bad loans for banks because they can lend to stressed areas?
I think there are 2 different aspects. Incidence of bad loan is depend upon how the economy comes back to the normalcy.
No, but if you throw them a lifeline, the stressed sectors will swim a little longer. So at least the danger of yes, go ahead.
Lata, I don't think what you are saying is that just by extending the total capacity, it will really create a stress. No, because it's not that all those who have been supported earlier will again be supported with the same amount, and it's not that way. It's not giving an extension of loan to the existing one. It is basically a new sectors will get covered. As I told you, ECGS 1 was introduced with a certain reduced parameter, then ECGS 2 was reduced for a higher bracket, then 3 with the still higher bracket, and 4 again with the greater bracket, means loans up to 2,000.
I remember all that.
So all that will now get the scheme can still cover the other sectors which have not been covered so far.
Yeah.
So it's not that it will create a stress; it will create an enabler for covering those sectors which could not be covered so far.
No, I think we are saying the same thing. That is exactly what I'm saying. That it will reduce the stress.
Yes.
Reduce potential stress for the banks. Okay, Upasana, do you think you will want to increase your GDP, at least give it an upside because of the kind of steps the government has taken?
Lata, for now, we had anticipated certain amount of measures to come about. And when we did that, that's when we arrived at 9% as our fiscal estimates, with a gradual improvement coming about from July. So I would still reserve my opinion on any upgrades because from a demand perspective, most of these measures are supply driven. And on the demand side, apart from the retail loans coming to the small players, it's very limited. So for now, I would still retain our 9% growth projections.
Okay. Well, a final question to you, Mr. Alok Mishra. Exactly what I was asking Mr. Mehta. Have we saved a lot of MSMEs from going under?
Yeah, we will save a lot of micro enterprises from going under if the banks come forward. Because the government has done its part, government has walked the talk, and government has provided the guarantee cover. Now it is for banks to lend to a sector which has historically a great repayment record, and some liquidity concerns have come now because of the COVID pandemic, and the government is now providing 75% of the default guarantee. So I think it is now the turn of the banks to support the sector, and that will in turn help the micro enterprises sustain this pandemic.
All right, at least that's a kind word that's come from all of you, that all the schemes will work. Alok Mishra, Upasana Bharadwaj and Mr. Mehta, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Well, it's